Uh, Welcome to Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast, an act of revolutionary defiance and a celebration of the things that bring us comfort, solace, and joy as we work to reclaim our humanity together. I'm Carlos Kareem Windham.
And I'm Theresa Logan. Hey, Carlos, is that actually what we do here?
Which part?
A celebration of the things that bring us comfort and joy, because mostly we talk about the things that annoy, frustrate, and bring us despair.
Isn't that what brings us the solace and the comfort?
It's not that comfortable.
No. All
No,
right.
it's honest, it's real, it's engaging with reality.
I think that was the mission, and then reality just kind of keeps.
I mean, I think we try to bring it back to that as a strategy, right? Of like Pollyanna looking at the bright side is not either one of our natural inclinations towards life with the amount of like Saturnian energy each one of us carries through this world. And I think that's why like cultivating joy is like work for us. Like it's a thing we intentionally work at to stay focused on the things that are still joyful and still available to us. And those are the places where we can build solidarity. And it's a strategy for survival. And it's a strategy for dreaming about the future.
Yeah, we stay in those joy fields. We stay in the fields for joy.
But how's your nervous system doing today?
Um, my nervous system is doing pretty well today. I'm recognizing as I have been bouncing up and down throughout my resilience zone that I have um, I think gotten pretty good at not be allowing for demonstrative activation by other people, right? So like as folks are going through their motions or whatever, for it to drive me to a place of demonstrative activation and going off of my frontal I'll say 9 out of times at this point, which is much better than it has ever been for me. So in that regard, I will say very, very good. And I recognize where my own yellow flag is in that as well. In that I may have a tendency to banner myself. I may have a tendency to shut down and lonely man myself and just, okay, all right, well, if we're not going to play nice, I'm not going to play. And that's
Are
not,
you making references to the Incredible Hulk?
of course, dun, 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 dun. Only the 1970s one that was actually much more of the fugitive than the Hulk. But yeah. How's your nervous system, Theresa?
Pretty good today. I wake up with a pit of anxiety and dread in my stomach every morning. And then I make my coffee and I walk outside and I say good morning to the plants and the trees and take a little walk and I wake up my children with love and joy and they scream, "Go away!" And I make it through my day. But I saw that to say like the challenges are not diminishing or decreasing. but my ability to tap into my skills and tools and kind of stay regulated through the day is working pretty well. Um, and I think there's some misunderstandings of what that word means, because like anything else, whiteness will grab it and weaponize it and use it to mean like being calm and unbothered by the madness around us or something. But it's like, no, it just means that my frontal lobe is on. It just means I have access to
Mm.
my frontal cortex to make intentional choices about how to navigate the chaos, not to be in some zen out, blissed out state pretending everything's okay when everything's falling apart. It just means like I have access to my entire brain. Like, it's good to be operating with access to my entire brain instead of in survival mode where I'm just being reactive and moving from like fear and scarcity and trying to outrun the unknown instead of just being like, hey, best friend, it's unknown today, it'll be unknown tomorrow. Fabulous. I love the unknown. There's so many possibilities within it.
So
And
many.
that is a place where I will choose to focus on the beautiful potential possibilities within the unknown instead of letting my imagination be, doing the work of destruction and despair and delusion.
Yeah, no, that is the one of the goals of was one of the goals of a consumer society, right? Like the idea is that the feeling of uh, eminent despair that is just part of humanity, knowing that you don't get out of being a human alive, that somehow can be tamed with consumerism, right? Rather than with connectivity and acceptance and knowledge and wisdom and reverence and joy, right? And so, with that having collapsed for the most part beneath a great number of Americans and is fragile at best for the rest. And when that is true, because the United States has been one of the economic drivers of, for some reason, the spread of consumerism is a model to follow across the globe. It leaves us all in a shaky, sitchy, because nobody knows quite what is next, as you said, and nobody knows quite what to do. Uh, to do, nobody quite knows what to do, and so people have questions, right? And then that's where um, conspiracies get born because, and I think it speaks to one of our dynamics, right? Like, which is uh, the sometimes frustration that you have when I might speak with a touch of hyperbole uh, about scientific facts. For instance, the world cracking in half right now and oozing
No,
out
that's
dragon
not
bones,
at all what is happening.
and
So factually incorrect.
what it's well, it's
What does
pretty
it do
much
for
what's
you
happening.
to frame it in that exaggerated sci-fi of a way when it's just like the natural movement of the tectonic plates that are always doing that?
They are, and it is in particular elongated, and there's a particularly long fault right now that goes from north to south that is visible
It is the
to.
Juan de Fuca plate crashing into the
Thank you.
Pacific plate, and the subduction zone at which the two meet is falling apart.
And it is visible because of tools that are now available. I
The Earth
feel
is not
like,
cracking in half. That's not what's happening.
well, when you look at it with predator glasses on, so that you can actually see exactly where the fault is, because you're looking at the heat signature rather than the photo, because there's no photo you can look at. You can only look at the globe and the heat signature of it. It is quite clear that the Earth is cracking in half, and
No, that's not what's
clearly,
happening at all.
given where you described it is, which is also very close to where the Pacific Rim, where they found the dragon bones,
No.
I'm
That
assuming
was in
that
China.
what's happened is that the
That was in
Earth
China, not
is,
the
well,
Pacific Northwest.
but it blew over as it cracked out of the Pacific Northwest. It was in the strait that it took it over there that now switched and turned off because there were probably too many dragons in it.
I mean, it's a good story. It's a good story. It's very factually incorrect and nonsensical. But what is the value you derive? What's the comfort and joy you derive from taking these actually sort of boring, unless you're really into like geology, scientific facts, and then constructing these fantastical, horrifying stories out of them?
Well, I think it's the same thing that is offered, I will say, by many of the right wing and many of the elderly whites in this country who derive some piece from made up horror stories offered them by Fox News and conservative news sources
I don't think that
that
offers
will
them
take
peace.
a baseline piece of information and then just spew whatever to affirm their beliefs.
I think they're
And
keeping them jacked up on fear and adrenaline to keep their frontal lobe offline so they can't think for themselves and will just follow their commands and
well, sure,
consume
no.
their propaganda without
Yes,
question.
absolutely. But it is the same
So you want me to
driving.
consume your propaganda without question, and that's why you keep telling me the earth is cracking open?
No. I haven't been keep telling you that. First of all, okay, let's get things straight. First of all, there's no keep telling you. I told you that this morning. That's not like a keep. I've been running around saying the earth is cracking in
You
half,
keep
and
talking
that's where
about
the
the
dragon bones are
dragons, you
from.
keep talking about spaceships coming out of black holes, and all these things are
Space monkeys come. First of all, the black
not
holes
actually
vomit.
what's happening.
Black holes vomit light. Space monkeys have been here since the 1950s, and they're
Are
full of
you
gamma
trying to
radiation.
drive away our actual listeners who are interested in things like racial justice and not conspiracy theories?
No, point being, and I do have one. The
I can't
Fox
wait to
News.
hear it.
Yeah. The Fox News just radiates these conspiracy theories, right? That it gives my mind, my monkey mind, something to do that I recognize has nothing to do. My monkey brain has that it has nothing to do with any kind of reality or anything that I can do anything about. And I don't then have to assign that to anybody. It doesn't
I
have to be
see.
anyone's fault.
It
Nobody
gives you
did
an
it.
outlet for cathartic rage,
Let it go, right?
not
Like,
personally
hey,
directed at another human.
what am I going to do with it except to know that, like, you could have told me earlier, and I don't know what we would have done with that information either, but I'm not angry
I
at.
love how I'm like, let's demonstrate to people how we're competent professionals who can help them in their organization so that they will hire us again. And you're like, let's talk about space monkeys and the earth cracking open. It's, an
because
interesting strategic approach.
because I do understand, right? I was thinking about this yesterday, and I've been thinking about this, right? This idea that, and it was presented to me in ways that upset me, and I didn't like either, right? By a friend of mine, that if we recognize that, as you and I have spoken about, we really are on Battlestar Galactica, right? There's one Earth. There's only one place that we all live.
There were like 3 Earths in Battlestar Galactica, but sure, carry on.
We're in Galactica. We're in Galactica. Okay, there's no getting out.
There were at least like 4 Earth-like planets in Battlestar Galactica.
Okay, what are we doing right now? Now, what are we doing? That we're on a ship on a rock that's floating around in the sky.
I'm questioning the validity of your metaphor.
Thank you.
And its strategic value in this context.
And there's nowhere to go. And then we all breathe the same earth. We're all made of the same stardust. We're all the same. We're all. It's the same. Now, we have different motivations. We have different actions that are taken, and if we are truly recognizing that there is a connectivity of spirit, right? That is a very distressing fact when we think about the nibblings and siblings who are on the far political spectrums of rigidity in a false binary of Republican and Democrat, and what they either had been or were meant to represent, and has all been proven to be a bunch of as of late, right? Given events of the day, shall we say. The mythologies blowing up, right, leave room for people to create their own mythologies around what they had believed or understood to be true. What most of these working class and poor, very agitated white people and Republicans, and increasingly Democrats, who are willing to do this. Oh, just I can overlook the racism. I can overlook the Nazi business. You can overlook the Nazi business? Wow. Not you.
Are we talking about Plattner now?
Oh, well, it made me think about that, because, to get to a point of like, that's your guy. He doesn't look good. He looks like a person who I would not want to be at a party with, for instance. But okay. And then to find out that, no, it wasn't just something he wrote in a blog. It wasn't just a tattoo that he had to cover up. It was also maybe some allegations of sexual abuse from his girlfriends. And that, how could that not have been vetted? It was. You just thought you could hide it. You recruited this guy. Now, if the Democrats are there, right? And I'm thinking like Stalwell, I'm thinking about this guy, I'm thinking about like, you can just look at Congress and like, if you know a creep, and go creep. Yeah.
What is the point of this tangent away from dinosaurs to Plattner?
That the mythologies of white supremacy are so deeply rooted that they're able to create a system in which, even when the belief is that they are challenging somehow the system, it is still rooted in this idea of a binary win and loss and team sport. And that ultimately there's a myth of a shared goal that has something to do with military readiness, which against whom, for why? What are you talking about? We have all of the guns and the missiles. What are we talking about right now? Like it, and to hear what sound like otherwise sane people saying things like this, right? And walking around their lives and just going about their business.
Are you around a lot of these people?
This is a very familiar conversation because I'm going to say that before we got to this recording, and when you were speaking about some other scarecrow people who I had to ask, are you ever around these people? The answer was very much the same as yours. No. But I heard things from some liberals who
Say
are very
otherwise.
well
He's
meaning, who are
sane,
very
but
well meaning. I mean, they're very well meaning and they do mean to be sane. They're not meaning to be,
I still don't understand the line from the cracked earth dinosaurs to the mega. Like, I'm very lost.
to
But
the
you don't have
MAGA
to
and the
clarify
Democrats
it
and
for
all of it.
me.
Yeah, to the MAGA and the Democrats and all of it and the mythologies
It's
of white
just your
supremacy. It's like,
mythology that you like
that's
to
as
spin for fun.
ridiculous as, like,
Yeah,
how are
for
you going to
sure.
be mad
Agreed.
at Republicans? How are you going to be mad at Democrats? Like, listen, I understand, but if the baseline is supposed to be that your team or this team is protecting the rights of this, that, or the next or the third person, and you're thinking that it's these white dudes with all this money who are going to be doing that, what we have proven at this point is that these men are far too sensitive to be in charge or power
And
of
also not
anything.
good at it. They're also just not good at it. They're doing a terrible job. They've been doing a terrible job. They're only good at lining their own pockets and lifting up their own egos and getting a pissing contest with each other. They're not good at it.
And so if we're going to be stuck in a back and forth football game or basketball game or whatever they think they're doing, these Democrats and Republicans and whatever it is that is still cheerleading for one team or the other, and think somehow that is what we are doing. Well, you might as well believe that the crack in the earth is where all the dinosaurs are spewing from, and that the little bunnies that exist under the water, the little white amoeba bunnies that exist under the water, are the product of a magician's hat that got knocked off during the Titanic, and two bunnies fell out and then populated the entire ocean the way that we now all have rabbits in our yards in every suburb across America. That's the
Okay.
point.
Thank you for that spectacular journey through your mind.
No, that didn't track for you.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like,
All right.
white supremacy being a mythology that makes no sense, I'm there with you. If that's the
We're
point,
doing a
absolutely.
podcast.
It makes no sense. Beyond that, you lost me there a little bit for sure.
Well, yeah, rooting yourself in anything, right? Like if you're gonna just root yourself if the end game is confusion, right? Then really
Is
you
that
can
your
just
end
make
game
up
here?
any
You
rule.
just trying to confuse me? You just making things up to
No,
confuse me?
It's the real things, right? You start with the real thing. This is the outcome. This is what is true. Okay, great. Now, how can I tie that into this other thing that is also true with some partial nonsense that goes into the partial nonsense from the other
Why?
thing, such that now, oh, look at this silly shit.
Yeah, no, I
Because that's
understand.
how whiteness works. See?
Fair. Very fair.
Yeah. So it's just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, what do they call that? Is I think it's like a long performance art piece for me that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, and
I
it's
see.
like it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's confusing for people.
Do you need other
because some
people to
think it
understand the
happens
point
here.
for it to be useful?
No, that's takes away you got to vibe the point. It's vibes. It's vibes.
It's so
As the kids
fascinating.
say.
You love vibes when you're doing it, and you hate vibes when they're from anyone else.
Hate vibes when anybody's giving me vibes, unless they're giving me wacky vibes that point out the absurdity of the world. I love that vibes. I don't
All
just
right.
like. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Welcome to Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast. What were you thinking about before we before we started engaging in that exploration of the very fragile mythologies that allow for white supremacy to turn into material, concrete realities out of mythical nonsense, including the idea that Atlantis exists and that this is where your people are from?
What?
It was key to Hitler's whole thing about white supremacy. I have no idea.
The
Anyway,
Germans were from Atlantis?
I don't know who they felt was from Atlantis exactly, but it was part of the. It was key. It was key.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
they needed some stuff from the Bible
I didn't know
and
that one.
Atlantis
That's new
and
to me.
something. Anyway, so what?
Made up fantasy mythologies. Got it.
How you doing? What were we talking?
A little confused for sure. But I think at one point we had discussed talking about the tension between kind of like the abundance manifestation movement or vibes or perspective or whatever you want to call it, and the kind of like solidarity economy, mutual aid, working outside the system energy, because I think those are both energies that we work with and channel and move through in those places. But sometimes it feels like there is some tension, for me and myself, there's some tension between those two things. But I also think in some of our community and movement spaces, there's a little bit of tension there as well.
What do you find that tension to be? So I know I can think of like 4 different questions and examples that have come up of late. And I say of late as we have had some modicum of success with our expanding community at strategyandSolidarity.org. Thank you and welcome to all the new members and
We've
those
had so
who
many new people join us recently. It's so exciting.
Please,
and mostly they're joining
Please join us
in solidarity for free, because we offer most of what we offer in the community for free for whoever wants to come join us. And that is one of those places where you find that tension between wanting to really be generous and offering what we have to offer to community, to whoever needs it, regardless of their ability to pay. And a lot of times the folks who need the most are the ones who have the least to pay for it with. And if you only operate in a give mode and you're never able to receive, then you run yourself dry very quickly. And then you kind of evaporate your resources. There's nothing left because you've given it all away. And so figuring out how do we create that reciprocal flow when we're in relationship where we are offering generously and also receiving generously from those who feel inspired to do so. And not in a nonprofit charity donation model, but in like a solidarity, also like fee for service model, that you are getting something of value.
Money me now money me money.
That is the energy of entitlement. Desperation.
Sorry. Right.
Not
that's not it. That's
not the ones I'm trying to move with.
Nope, that's not what we're saying.
We all been there, right? Fair, when you're in that moment, it's just like, oh my God, what I could do if I just had the money, right? And some people get to just have it just fall out of the sky for them from their inheritances and their stock portfolios and extracting the life force out of other humans around them. While the rest of us are just trying to like live a life and take care of our families and be housed and fed and contribute and create. I think that's what most of us are looking for. And then we're stuck in the system that just wants so badly to push us into these systems of exploitation and extraction. And so it's really challenging to figure out how to navigate that and like thrive and take care of your needs while also doing something that's creating something of value in the world. When all the messaging and all the things out there, like figure out who to exploit, convenience, make it automated. And it's like, I don't want to automate my relationships. I don't want to outsource my cognitive functions to AI. pretty proud of my cognitive functions. I would like to keep them going for, for as long as possible. It's
Worked
like,
hard on
oh
those.
no,
Worked hard on those.
like how many people are going to end up with dementia and Alzheimer's because they outsource all their cognitive function to AI? It's like you
They're not going to
need
know
to
they have
keep your brain
Alzheimer's.
working. That's you got to work out your muscles in your brain just like you work out your muscles in your body. Otherwise, you end up middle aged, out of breath when you climb a flight of stairs, like me. I'm getting better, but you know.
Yeah, no, I think that to that point, and what we were talking about off mic and how we were talking about those tensions. I think part of what is feels absurd to me is this binary tension that exists not only in the very base politic that we have, right, of right, left, Democrat, Republican, and then trying to talk about where that exists. Because if you're talking about anything that exists within those offices, first of all, there's nothing to the left of anything there. So don't worry about it, right? There's been no left in this country since Clinton. And when I say that, I mean because of the neoliberalism that was put forward, and that everything was then pushed to the right as soon as you start talking about uh, talking about political safety and talking about again that hyper militarism and hyper readiness and always being ready for somebody to come and try and get all your good stuff. My friend, nobody is trying to come and get all your good stuff. I don't know what that means. I don't know what they think they're trying to get.
Your
I don't know
stuff
why they
isn't
think they're
even
trying
that
to get
good.
it. And yeah, no, people see it and they're like, this is Disneyland? Are you serious? This is what y'all are doing? No, and now who would want to come here? We've talked about this. I don't, it's hard to be I'm as I'm listening to a siren in the distance. It is hard to think that this is where people who still have time to themselves and any level of affordability of travel that they would want to come here. Why would you go to the United States? Go someplace free. Have a good time. Don't come here. This is dangerous. I wouldn't do it. I don't know what that meant. I don't know what that meant. I lost the thread when that siren started blaring in my ear.
Um,
That is so America. I
okay.
really did. The siren started rolling, and I'm like, what is happening right now? Anyway.
Well, we were talking about like that survival, and I think it's with me, I definitely came of age in an era where I think I caught the tail end of the Gen X like don't be a sellout romanticization of like poverty and struggling artists and that sort of thing. You know, had my fair share of Che Guevara t-shirts and read the Motorcycle Diaries and went to Cuba.
Yeah.
And there's so many things I love about Cuba, and there's so many other ways we could be living. And I mean, people in Cuba are really, really struggling right now. Everything's shutting down and breaking down there much faster than here. Because, the US has had their boot on the neck of Cuba for 60 years. Um, and eventually, someone keep their foot on your neck long enough, what's going to happen? But think about these energies of like, for me, there's been so much need to pull my energy. And we talked about this on that one episode, I think we call Savior or something, of just pulling my energy out of all that like savior, martyr, victim, villain energy. There's so much a part of colonization of like, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. And if we're good guys, and our job is to defeat the bad guys. And then the martyrdom of like whose souls we're trying to save, and the way they justify colonization with religion and trying to save, there's just so much nasty stuff mixed up in there. And so for me, it's like I got to really pull myself out of this role I've been trained into of being the martyr or the savior or something. Just being, I'm not here to save anyone. I'm here to like live my life and create a life. And I would love to co-create a world that is just and thriving for everyone, not, you know, sacrificing my life for that in these hero stories that we've been taught, but like, how do I invest my creative life force with that of others and creating something that serves us all? That to
Yeah.
me feels like maybe a new story to us or a much, much older story that other people have known at other times in life. Um, but it's hard because, you know, people are hard to work with. We're all damaged and annoying and neurodivergent or not. And the not neurodivergent people might be the bigger problem, it seems like, with their
Right.
lack of justice sensitivity. Um, you know, so I guess for me, it's thinking about how to like find the balance between those things. So you and I, like, we only have so many legal options. Technically, we have a business. In reality, we have a charity project we've invested a lot of money in. What we really dream of it being is actually a collective where we are helping to move resources through our community, and people are offering what they have to offer and giving what they have to give, and we're helping to support each other and building, you know, collaborative, thriving, just futures for all. You know, we don't entirely know how we're going to get there, what that looks like, but I think that's part of what we're trying to do is dream beyond the structures we have available to us of how can we do this where we are able to generate enough monetary resources to provide for our families and also be investing in building a community that aren't in ways that are like profit and ego driven, but are
Uh-huh.
in like regenerative outcome driven ways.
Yeah. No, I that's part of the thing too, right? Is understanding and again, I take hmm, I've been taking stock and holding deep appreciation for this moment. I do feel it very much in terms of the growth of community on the upswing. And part of that is knowing that, well, experiencing that there is a supposition, right? That is just held and great fear, as we were talking about, right? In the mythologies of what we've been led to believe around what we might be creating, what anybody's creating, right? And so it was put to us in a way that I know was charged, and at the same time, really did begin the part of the conversation that we're holding. And it was just the idea of like, well, you know, who's funding this? Like, what's behind this, right?
Somebody on social media responded to one
Right,
of our posts
exactly.
and said, "Who is funding this?"
Or I don't remember if it was who was funding this or who's behind it. Like, I'd look further into it, but I need to know
It felt like they
who's
were
behind
trying
it.
to, it was felt like a gotcha kind of thing or something like, who's funding this or who's behind this?
More than a gotcha, it did feel accusatory. It did not feel like a gotcha, and it didn't feel like a gotcha because it felt more like one of those people um of a generation just outside of or at the cusp of Gen X who has been tried to be politically active in that very ardent way during the Tea Party, during what were the encampments? I always forget the name. I was not there. Uh,
Occupy Wall Street.
Thank you. The Occupy Wall Street movement, which itself then splintered, right? And your millennial streaming communities now exist in places where you can hear the actual positions of the global far right, because that's who funds the far right, who are on the most of the streamers and YouTube and what have you, and the far left, which we know because Democrats get upset when they start saying things that actually speak truth to power. And you can see the scope of what is true for a generation that is left just questioning, right? Like, well, what the hell is anything, right? After those experiences, and for the Tea Party, who really deeply needed something to believe in, right, to find themselves caught up in becoming MAGA, mega, in becoming MAGA, and for the rest of the disenchanted to get to that place that I so dislike of, well, I'm too dumb to vote and I'm too dumb to be involved, so I'm just going to step away. And it's like, well, okay, you just voted then. That's your vote. And they depend on that. And that's why Trump very specifically says he loves the uneducated. That right there works in the favor of a totalitarian, an authoritarian, like that's the oligarchs. That's it.
They're the easiest ones to con with shiny things.
That's it. Hey, come buy this watch over here. Don't go in there. Why would you go in there? Look, I got it for like $2. Then you get it
I
home.
love you. You believe me. They're all liars.
You believe me. They're liars. I'm your favorite president. Hey, look, I'm on your passport. Why are you on my passport? You're alive now. That doesn't even make sense. Why is anybody on my passport?
So gross.
I don't like him. Hey, Lindsey Graham is dead. That's pretty cool.
That's fabulous. Good for him.
Very good for him. Very bad for the world. Makes me sad.
It's bad for the world?
No. That he did what he did and was not able to own his entire self in the same way as a Barney Frank or other politicians of his generation who did.
You think he's a closeted gay man?
He's, well, not any longer. I
was.
mean, his all his secrets are coming out very quickly.
Yeah.
And they're not that secret.
Don't follow.
And who cares?
Because I don't care. But you can tell me.
Well, I mean, the thing is, who cares, right? And I don't care, except that, like in Hollywood, and this kind of thing,
it matters to have that much power and take action and create policy that negatively impacts the lives of other gay men and queer folks when that is in fact who you are, but you're just hiding it from the world. Like, that does matter. Absolutely.
Well, not hiding it from anybody. I mean, it's very clear. And the part B of that is,
he didn't hide it. He came out and told everyone he was hiring male sex workers.
I mean, stop. No, all the male sex workers had said, not even male anymore. Many of them are now trans. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's not my point. My point being, because he wanted that not to be out, because he thought, given where he's from, that would be politically devastating, that it meant that his identity and the safety of his community was one of the cards on the table that he was willing to play, going back again to they're playing ball and they're trying to win power ultimately. So really, whatever it is that I have to trade to get power, right, allows me to get where I'm getting, which is where you get somebody like a Lindsey Graham, who is eventually allowed to get to a place of saying, hey, this dude is our Hitler. This is the worst guy you could even imagine. If he wins, we all deserve to lose. To being his main sycophant, to going out to Ukraine.
He said
and
that?
Very likely. Oh, yeah, he said all of that before. To then being his main sycophant, to then ending up out in Ukraine, to then flying back from Ukraine and dying on the flight back. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Does that seem familiar? But I guess we're just going to brush over that and act like he just died in the United States. Okay, of natural causes that he had no symptoms of. Yeah, he was in Ukraine finishing his deals with Russia and trying to shut them down. And then he was on a plane coming back home after trying to tell the Russians again, hey, shut down what's going on in Ukraine. Hey, Netanyahu, shut it down. Hey, shut it down. We need to,
Putin?
we got to get to the midterms and the
Putin?
midterms.
Was Netanyahu also in Russia?
Netanyahu was also involved in the call, and Netanyahu was, in fact, the very first global official who came on air to say anything about the death of Lindsey Graham, and it was picked up by Fox News first. 100%. And then dude was dead within a couple of hours of getting here. There is
what are you
a
suggesting
place.
is the conspiracy behind
I'm not
his death?
suggesting anything. I'm
Russia
saying
killed
that there
him?
is a
Trump
place.
killed him? Who do you think killed him?
I'm saying that there is a place on this planet where it is not uncommon for politicians who are close to the highest of the oligarchy to start suggesting sensible things, and then suddenly they're
Have
dead.
a heart attack. Get radiation
Suddenly
poisoning.
they had a heart attack. Suddenly they're in prison. Suddenly they died in prison. Suddenly they fell off a building. Suddenly they died from some mysterious thing.
How close is this to the dinosaur bones in the earth cracking out, or actual news? Okay.
No, this is all pretty much just news. Sadly. It's all just pretty much news.
Okay. So this is not the same as saying that the earth is cracking open because of the tectonic plate movement.
No, this is closer to, hey, this is how you find yourself with what ends up appearing to be a self-hating person when you look at their legislative record. But what you don't understand is that their legislative record, which votes against their own rights and interests, really does keep them in the place of Congress, allow them to keep putting money in their pockets. And because they've agreed to certain trades with their compatriots, nobody's going to out them, and they'll be able to stay in office forever and ever and ever. Now, if you then start talking that America first shit once the global oligarchy becomes involved, and you're making trades with people who maybe you don't want to, for the same reasons that they said to the president, hey, you're not getting on Air Force 2, get the hell back on your plane and get the hell back over here. And then he started getting all paranoid about Iran's trying to kill me. Like, you think...
What happened?
Yeah. He's not allowed to be on the Qatari jet. His security was like, get off of that thing right now. You are not coming back on that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Get back on Air Force One right now. Right now. And he did, because they showed him what's happening based on what he has done. Really?
What
Iran,
is happening?
Persia is not psyched about you? They really are serious about wanting you to be gone? Huh.
The Qataris?
The guy who... the Qataris
who gave him the plane?
The Qataris who gave him the plane have much more interest in being in alignment with the Mideast than they do being in alignment with the United States. The United States is a pawn. The president was a pawn.
They think there's a booby trap on his plane?
They think. I don't think that. I didn't tell him what to do. I'm not telling him what plane to get on. Get on whatever plane you want to get on, Jack.
I have not read or engaged with this information. So I'm
yeah.
trying to assess if we're talking about dragons and the earth cracking open, if we're talking about like AP Newswire reports. Just sometimes I need to try to
this is AP
locate myself in the range
AP
of possible sources of information when we speak.
AP, Fox, The Nation, CNN.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's like if you're going to kidnap and blindfold presidents of other countries and play capture the flag like that, and then tell that a whole other country that you're going to turn them into rubble, and then keep telling your country that you already did, but they're still fighting with you and you can't get out of it. You're in a pickle, friend. Might make people mad. And it seems like he has.
Can we have Chicago's mayor be our next president?
Things like that, right? Like, can we get Mandami? Can it be who can we get? Like, what can we do?
Brandon Johnson.
Who's real? Can we get one of the real ones?
Have you seen him in his press conference videos and things?
No, not yet. Who's that?
Brandon Johnson, Chicago mayor. I mean, he just demolishes ridiculous arguments, calls out Trump quite often, and seems to be investing a lot in programs in his city that are actually making an impact for the community.
Dig.
All right, we'll have to go watch some videos and we could talk about it next time. But I just
Is
keep
he a
seeing his
party-
videos
is
come
he a
up and
party
I'm like,
person?
I don't know what that means. I don't know.
You do. There are two main parties, and then there's another party that's actually making waves, and the Democrats are all pissed at them.
I don't know if he's a Democrat. I don't think he's a Democratic Socialist. I don't know. I've not done a lot of research. I expected you would know more about this than me. So let's do a cliffhanger. We'll go do some research and we'll come back and talk about it next time. Join us next time on Strategy and Solidarity Pod, the podcast, to see what will become of Carlos and Theresa's conversation about the Chicago mayor. Take good care of yourselves out there.